Hello everyone and welcome to the part 12 factory playthrough of the Might and Magic map. In this part, we'll continue the dimension door galore and deal with most of our non-pink enemies. Right now I'm using Cassiopeia to spread some quattles around my heroes, so that they'd have maximum movement points. Should have done it long ago, honestly. Waited way too long for it to happen, to do that. But better late than never. Also assembled a sharpshooter's bow, so it's time to give it to the main army, although it's not gonna be useful particularly often. I actually don't remember if I even used it. I mean, golden bow does the job for the most part. There is not much difference if you don't have archery skill, and the ability to shoot in melee is not often that meaningful. But it may actually be helpful at some point later, when we start fighting with pink. Using Cassiopeia to distribute mobility artifacts as well. Sometimes when you pass around artifacts, like I do here, for example, when I pass army and artifacts, I forget to keep boots and gloves to the same hero. So, for example, I often prefer to have boots and gloves to the same hero. For example, I wouldn't want Cassiopeia to have boots or gloves, because she's just so bad. She doesn't have useful magic skills, she doesn't have logistics, she doesn't have pathfinding, she's actually pretty bad. She has diplomacy, but that's not enough to actually use her. So whenever I swap items, I would actually prefer, like, for example, if two armies exchange artifacts, right? Two heroes, and there are only one pair of boots and one pair of gloves. Generally, there would be one of these two heroes whom I would prefer to always have gloves and boots. So, and that is regardless of where which hero will end up with the army. I would prefer the same hero to end up with gloves. I mean, the same, that is, for example, if let's take this Cassiopeia as an easy example, and let's say another hero would be Henrietta, and I would want Boots and Gloves to always end up on Henrietta, even if she passes army to Cassiopeia. Right? I mean, it was probably obvious without the need to repeat it, I guess. So I sometimes don't forget it. Sometimes I will swap gloves and boots back after swapping the artifacts, and sometimes I do forget it, so I end up with some suboptimal mobility artifacts distribution. So next day, next opportunity to DD dimension door across the map with a bunch of heroes. Now at this point I want to use every hero to do that except for 2 heroes. So when it comes to Agar, he's my currently main hero, and so I want to use this time to boost his stats basically. So I should be taking libraries, taking like all stat boosts that are available to him. Obviously libraries should be a priority for him. At the same time, there is also Henrietta, whom I want to level up as fast as possible so that she could free high level heroes. Although that's not required, honestly. There are 2 heroes of levels 50 whom you can free even without any level requirement, so it's not required. So but that's my plan anyway here for Henrietta. So Seal finally learned blind. That's nice to know. Now one other thing that I actually do, I think, a pretty bad job here is that when I learn new spells, so now Seal has learned a blind, so I would actually want to pass the blind to Bertram or to some other scholar, maybe like to all scholars actually, but at least to one. So, and when this scholar gets the spell, so I would actually do good for myself if I tried to build my hero movement so that this hero would naturally teach everyone else in some way. For example, I can actually give you a very good example for my situation here, what I could have done better. So I could have put Bertram in one of castle towns. Castle as in the town with angels, right? So these do have stables, and so that's a day 1 of the week. So I naturally want to visit stables with all of my heroes, and the most efficient way to do that is to town portal to that town. So I could do 2 important things at the same time. So I could put Bertram in one of these towns, and whenever someone else takes their turn, they town portal to that town, exchange spells, and they visit stables at the same time, and they're on their way to glory basically at this point, so that would be quite nice improvement. And obviously that goes without saying, but I shouldn't be forgetting to visit stables in the first place to do that. That's another problem of mine, so I actually am very frequently do forgetting this. Well, that's a weird way to say that, but yeah, okay. I often forget it. But, well, that was I think, very, actually, significant improvement, what I mentioned here with Bertram and a castle town. So in general, when you have town portal, and especially when you have dimension door, there are actually, I think, so many ways to use your heroes that there can be quite significant improvements, actually, just like everywhere. So Cassiopeia is going for another town. Another weird turn. Or maybe there were just few, I don't know. I didn't pay attention, but I think, yeah, there were just too few sea dogs, so they didn't kill anyone. I had an impression that it was the same bug as when the user, the AI moves its units next to yours and do not attack. So that kind of was my impression. Interestingly, that AI actually thinks that its shooters are stronger, so that's why Ajit did not leave the walls on turn 1. This propensity for AI to actually do that can be abused in kind of quite hilarious ways, actually. Too bad for the AI that in this fight, at least, there is no need to do anything complicated. That's a pretty big Nyx stack, though. That's kind of a problem. But as I said, just imagine if I did that thing with Bertram and had him in a castle and used Cassiopeia to visit stables, and she would have blind now, so she would have it very easy, actually. I mean, it's still not gonna be any problem, but definitely she could simplify things for herself. Now Nyxus will probably break Ballista, if I had to guess. And I still need to kill Ice. I think I can use automatons here, because I can repair them easily. Okay, I did it this way, right? Okay. Oh, okay. It also works. Nixes wouldn't attack anyone, really, at this point when they could hit a ballista or a catapult. They would regret attacking anyone, so I could afford to leave engineers within attack range. Okay, just barely had enough mana. Okay, that's something weird. What do I want to do with seal here? And I actually did not yet teach blind to Bertram, I think. Honestly, I don't remember what she sealed it this turn, so that definitely looks a bit weird that I used her to bring army to Ignatius. Although she had spent most of her movement points already, so okay, that actually might make sense. Okay, I see. Yeah, this travel actually is pretty tight for Ignatius. He couldn't teleport one extra time. I mean, town portal. So I guess it's time to go to the portal. So this is the starting town of a brown player, and we will take it away. Wow, that's lucky. Only one artifact slot left. One other thing to improve here is if I actually started freeing heroes. I already mentioned it during previous turn, I think, that it would be actually smart to start joining more heroes. And same still is true during this turn. So it actually is a sort of how do you call it, a perpetuum mobile, like eternal engine. What would you call it? So for example, if you can reach a new hero just by using one hero, right? So what happens is that you can reach a hero with your hero, you free that hero, then you pass artifacts and army to that hero and move your own hero back to the town, and then you can use this new hero basically to find another hero and basically repeat this process, I mean, until there are no prisons, I guess. So, and with air magic, actually, even freshly recruited heroes of level 20, most of them can do, like, I mean, 3-dimension doors. So that's pretty good. And you can reach actually very large number of prisons with this. And if I actually added like 20 more heroes, then now you might be thinking that my turns take forever, but imagine that I had like doubled number of heroes. That would be actually, I don't know. You'd probably be remembering those days when I had like just 15 heroes with some sort of sorrow, I guess. Missing those good old days. When turns only took just 1 hour, or maybe like about that. So basically this turn is primarily focused around taking over as many towns as possible. Now my goal is to beat an all-knowing hero, that is a pink hero, who has a Horn of the Abyss. He has a pretty big army though, so it's not an easy fight. But ultimately that's my goal, and I actually should be also going towards that goal at this point. And blue actually died unexpectedly. I see. Now Grimtown will go after Ribcage. That's the final piece for my Armor of the Damned. Basically, it was my primary motivation to go take this town. He doesn't have slow even. That's pretty funny. Maybe I should have used damage door here actually. This way I could have town portaled back once I free the hero. Now I don't get to do that. So I actually, as you can see, only have like what, 4 heroes active right now, so I can allow 1 hero to be okay, 5. I can allow 1 hero to be basically standing in the open here, wasting a slot. But probably the fact that he won't restore mana points next turn, that would be a bigger problem actually. So next turn he would be probably not very usable. So I'd have to basically visit a well first. I mean, because he has air magic, it's probably one dimension door. Not that much. So could still find use for him. Even in this situation. So where does she go? I think she goes for the portal. Yes, indeed. So she goes for a Conflicts Town that is slightly above. I will have to cast something. Most likely. So, one interesting thing, or maybe not so interesting, but when you have a dimension door, your biggest enemy is resource piles and such things that basically clutter the ground. So here she has to basically clear up a lot of space on her feet. She can't dimension door directly to the town, so it takes a lot of movement. Armor of the Damned, I actually, in general, prefer not to use it. I mean, I prefer some other artifacts. But against conflicts, it's actually pretty nice. The curse is very strong against storm elementals, against ice elementals, basically the only shooters conflicts has. And they become absolutely garbage. I mean, slow obviously is nice, but in general I do prefer to use some other artifact or artifacts. So Armor of the Damned does not give, you could say practically does not give stats. So +3 +3 +2 +2 is not something to be happy about. So in general, when you take a fight against a relatively not so strong opponent, you would prefer Iron Fist so that you could close the fight faster. And when you fight against a stronger enemy, you would actually prefer Angelic Alliance items that are actually boosting your skills pretty significantly. Okay, he's going for another barbarian town. That is a for bonus town stronghold. It's pretty far, so getting a logistics and pathfinding and air magic hero is pretty nice for this purpose. Bertram goes for another cove town. Doesn't have a lot of movement left, so he needs to take as few steps as possible. I was kind of trying to dimension door there a few times, trying to find the spot that is closest to the teleport. Okay, that's the place. Summon clones here just deal a little bit more damage to shooters, so that I wouldn't have to resurrect that many units of my own. Forgot to resurrect phoenixes, I think. Oh, okay, I don't have mana, so I ended up losing a couple. Phoenixes are actually one of my favorite units. Even though they are very weak, they are exceptional as a filler unit. exceptional. But I don't need many of them to fulfill this role, so losing a couple is not a big deal. Maybe I still should build fire in my conflict towns, though. I don't know, just in case, like, I need a couple extra phoenixes. I'm not sure. Kind of 36 that I have now should be enough for, like, for anything. But I mean, if I lose some, like, significant number, then maybe that's not gonna be enough, but like, basically 30 is as much as you would ever need, I guess. And 30, it is 6 stacks by 5, right? So you want 5 phoenixes in the stack so that they always resurrect. And basically at most you would want 6 stacks, 6 filler stacks. So that's 30. So started collecting boots at the same time, because I kind of have many heroes but not enough mobility artifacts. So it kind of makes sense to pick up extra boots when I can. I already forgot how strong first aid is on a specialist like Floribird. That's pretty crazy. Imagine he would be level 50, that'd be pretty strong. So what would be the bonus then? Like about just over 50% HP bonus. That's pretty crazy actually. And imagine he's level 74, that is default. I mean, obviously Armorer hero is better regardless, but that's still pretty strong. Pretty strong. So that would be like 70% extra HP. That's, I mean, we have a combined artifact, as you all know, that gives 25%, just 25% HP. That's pretty good artifact, actually. Okay. When you can spare ring slots and one of 5 pockets, you actually do prefer to equip this the elixir of life, and that's just 25%. I mean, come on, 70% is crazy. Like, the downside is that all it takes is 3 hits against a tent, and you're back to normal HP. But I mean, 3 hits, it's not that easy to do actually. Okay, going to visit orange player now. I somehow did not visit him yet. It would be interesting to see how many towns are left for everyone at this point. So we already eliminated blue and teal players. So brown doesn't have towns, that's for sure, and green also doesn't have towns, I think. So we didn't touch orange yet, and maybe purple has another town, I'm not sure. So kind of not very many towns left to my equal opponents, I guess would be a way to say that. Not counting pink just yet. Pink is gonna be next. Maybe let's try outline my current view of the plans ahead. So what I'm doing here is basically right now, so I'm taking like as many towns as possible, right? So on its own it's nothing really. So these towns are basically checkpoints around the map, so locations where I can town portal to. So my goal, as I already mentioned, is to beat the all-knowing, but it's pretty tough, so I need to be able to be quite a bit stronger than I am right now. And so my goal is to free all level 50 heroes I can, and actually maybe also level 40 heroes as well. Then possibly use one of the level 50 heroes or Agar. I don't know yet, but probably I'll have to use a level 50 hero, because he's gonna have higher stats, considerably higher stats. It's gonna take some time for Agar to catch up, let's say, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. And I want before that, so I want to sell most of the creatures I have. So, well, I'm not in my main army, of course. So I had stashed some in mines, and then many creatures will join me with those level 50 heroes and some of the 40s as well. So, and the idea is to like sell as much as I can, so earn as much gold as I can, like basically in 1 or 2 days, let's say, and then use the money that I earn to hire maybe a couple of strong armies, like maybe a few thousands of automatons, maybe like worms, maybe something like that, okay? And use this as my basically ticket to beating All-Knowing. I mean, this hero has some weaknesses. We'll see if I can abuse them. He's definitely not a pushover. He has like 650 fairy dragons. That's gonna be pain to deal with. And he has 4 shooting stacks. Although he is not immune to forgetfulness, so that's his problem. I actually don't know, maybe him not being immune to forgetfulness, it might have been an oversight on map author's part actually, because he has a Sleep Keeper artifact that is supposedly protects against mind spells, that including forgetfulness, of course. But the interesting part about this artifact is that it is actually superseded by an Orb of Vulnerability. So basically it doesn't work. If you have an Orb of Vulnerability, then mind spells actually work against a hero with Sleep Keeper. That's a very interesting thing. And I wonder if map author actually knew that or not. So if his intent was that you cannot use mind spells, then I'm sad to say, but it did not work. And if his intent was that you can use Orb of Vulnerability to do that, then, well, it worked. This green hero kind of begs to be attacked, I guess. And I do not satisfy his request just yet. Okay, so developing a guard here is basically the best use for him at this point, if I plan to use him. And I probably do, even if I don't use him against All-Knowing. I'm still very likely to use him later against some others. But I need to develop him for that. So if I don't get to do that, then maybe he actually won't be useful, unfortunately. Quite interesting. Level 50 options such as Sir Mullick is a pretty good one. Kind of an overpowered hero actually, but his specialty is like something ridiculous. Unfortunately, it's not as ridiculous as an Armorer specialty, so I would very much prefer to have an Armorer for the endgame fights, but I mean, +2 speed is pretty good. I mean, just imagine that you are a castle and you have all speed artifacts and you have Sir Mullick, and you may have a pikeman that has speed 11 on grass. It's kind of crazy. And that's without haste. Like, you haste this pikeman and it's like almost like a dragon at this point. I mean, some dragons are actually slower than that, so I mean, that's crazy. I remember this hero was actually even by default enabled in the past. It was so fun to play him in the beginning, so I mean, pikeman with speed 6 to actually 7, because you start on grass normally. That's insane. But my face... Interestingly, I don't need any tents anymore. Won't probably bother actually visiting them. Okay, I thought about killing these cows for a moment, but then I decided that I may want to hire them later. I don't know. It's very hard for me to actually switch my mindset because hiring everyone that I actually want to hire would require me to pay maybe a couple more months, maybe more. So I would have to play more than I actually want. I want to finish it as fast as possible, so naturally I would not be able to hire like even close to what I actually want to hire. So the same problem with my desire to build up towns, like build a nymph waterfall so that I could hire like what, I don't remember what's their growth, like 30 nymphs every week, then convert them to skeletons, upgrade, and basically earn what, like 1,000 gold a week. So that's kind of a scale of stupidity, I guess. I mean, that's a bit silly. Yes, it's kind of useful, but like probably not worth wasting any time on this. Especially considering that I should be finishing much earlier than that will actually much earlier than it becomes like pays for itself. Especially if you consider that I would invest in a citadel and fort, actually in some cases as well, and a castle. So that's a hefty investment for such a low return. I could as well maybe like put this money on my pension fund. That would probably be more reasonable. Okay, so we'll actually have a fight here. I remember that I actually tried this fight a couple of times without doubling mana on Bertram, but then decided that it's not worth the trouble, so I actually decided to double the mana. So if I had to do that, that's a very strong hero by the standards of this map so far. That doesn't say a lot, unfortunately. The cool thing about this fight is actually I'm fighting against an Evil Eye specialist. So Evil Eyes are actually pretty strong in his army. And that's pretty actually. I very much like the idea of kind of high level creature specialists. So I played another map some time ago. I don't remember the name, unfortunately. There were heroes also with creature specialties, and they were like level 600 or something, so very high level. And well, that actually feels quite a lot. So they are pretty strong. And 1.7 boosted creature specialties, so heroes now actually don't have to be level a bajillion to make specialties actually pretty decent. And while I was talking, so actually evil eyes were ground down. And I think he has a necklace against blind or something, I don't remember exactly. I think he does have immunity to blind. So I actually, even though it's probably the first time when I actually have a blind and I can use it, enemy still has blind immunity, so I guess that means I still have to use hypnotize. Finally, no towers. Halflings' lives are saved. There are actually a few stacks of halflings on the map, so I kind of checked how many I could hire. Probably checked it around this turn actually. And so I could get around 14,000 in total. So that would be like extra 10,000. 10 to 11,000. And that sounds pretty good actually. But I wonder if it's actually a worthwhile investment, to be honest. Considering that my enemies will probably not be very fond of me having this many halflings. They may find it objectionable. Also, you may have noticed I keep boots and gloves to my main army basically, even though kind of it's already like what 5 pairs maybe of boots and gloves. And I do that because with the way I'm constantly rotating these artifacts end up naturally to every hero in my roster, or almost to every hero. And so that is the easiest way to redistribute artifacts. So I have these boots there, and then I find an extra hero who needs those boots, and well, he will be able to leave a pair for himself. Now I messed up somewhere, maybe moved a bit too much on foot, so he doesn't have movement to both kill the enemy hero and then down portal back, unfortunately. But fortunately for me, Sam will be able to do that. I mean, to kill the hero. And then down portal back home as well. Okay, that's probably very close to the time we wrap up. As usual, please leave your feedback in the comments. We'll see you in the next part when I'll continue doing mostly the same. I'll be freeing more heroes though in the next one. Kind of a bit of a change. Well, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.